His disciple had a wife. NTV Kenya, NTV crossover on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also talk to us at Son of Nations and Season Grace _KE. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you the Riri Family.
Ako anajua kuonea. Now you guys are on air.
Oh, we are on air.
Tuko TV. So we take it again. We take it again.
Take two.
Ladies and gentlemen, we introduce the Riri Family.
Did that go well or did
It went well.
You really did well.
You really did well. Lakini msianze hiyo mchezo tunaweza show hapa hewani.
Shikilia hiyo. Ai.
Chukua uzito.
Karibu yanguke bwana.
Paul.
Karibuni sana. It's so nice to have you again. It is so nice to know that kuna times guest wakifika tujuangi kama amefika. We have to go check the reception, but our tulijua amefika. Because from there, because of why? Ama niacha kuchoma.
Ni mapema kuchoma.
Ni mapema. Wacha nianze na ladies first. Introduce yourself. Watu ambie hata watu wasikie sauti ya kutanyo kapangoni.
I wish ningekuwa na sauti ya kutanyo kapangoni. Nakuwa nayo nikiimba. Nikiongea kidogo itakuwa
tunamrudisha pangoni.
Anarudi tu pangoni. So my name is Anne Muitereri. I am a married woman for 8 and something years. 8 and how many? 8 and something years. Bwanangu akifikiwa na yeye anasemanga 9.
Yes.
Tunakutana hapo katikati inakuwa complicated.
In the town.
Yes. What else should I say about myself? I have 3 children. I am a communication specialist by profession. By profession, I talk, I write, I do anything that pertains communicating.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Muitereri.
Hello. It is nice to be hosted. I'm not asking questions. My name is Frederick Muitereri. Born again and I love Christ. Been married. I'm a married man here. Hii ni ya kufanya ile mambo. We've been married for 9 years. This year it will be 9 years, 29th of November. I work for a great TV station called NTV. I work for the greatest TV station called NTV.
Na leo kwa show gani?
Na niko kwa crossover.
Fantastic.
Sisi wenye tufanyi kazi kwa TV alafu
sasa unajua nyinyi God anaangalia heart.
By extension.
Thanks sis.
Sasa tunataka kusalimia watu.
I think I'm such quite better. Let's get to it.
Amengara. You know when people see you online they're like, "Hey, these are such vibrant people, good vibes, they click so well." Let me start by asking a rather random, "Hey, uko kwenye tumekuna kichwa?"
No, I'm just thinking.
You're just thinking.
Yeah.
What don't most people know about you as a couple?
That we fight.
Sisitiza, endelea to say. Give us more.
Maybe let tunasemanga and then people still ask.
Yeah.
People fight.
People, I think because of the way most marriages have been put out there like perfect, and people tend to think even ours is perfect. It's not. We fight a lot, and we fight for different reasons, but our fights do not last. Probably that is why we are happy. Yes.
Wapigana ndo wapendana.
It is important. It is important to fight.
Do you guys have this rule of hatulali kama tumekasirikiana liwe liwalo?
Hiyo ni uongo.
Oh, hiyo ni ya movie.
Hiyo ni uongo.
The rule is actually there. And it has been there.
Kwa Biblia.
Isipovunjwa ni ya nini basi iandikwe.
Rules are there to be broken.
Sasa zingine kinaumana. But we try.
Yeah.
We try.
It's something that we try to do.
Okay.
I think we don't go beyond 2 days. Sometimes it will go beyond that, but on average 2 days at most. Before we say, you know what, we have to sort this out.
Kama watu wazima.
Yeah. Na hiyo nzima kidogo inakosaga, inakosekanaga. Kidogo. Usidanganye. Niliona Michelle Obama akisema ati when they go low we go up. Akauliza in marriage we go down.
Yeah, maybe if you guys don't mind sharing, maybe what is that extent of ile yenye tulipiga past 2 days na mkafeel, this was crazy, this at some point, if we didn't handle the way we handled, inge lead to another story?
I'll let my wife speak about that because I know she has an example. Imepotea.
Ama ziko mingi sana.
I think there's a time we were not fighting like we are not talking to each other. We've never gone beyond 2 days without speaking or talking to each other.
Yeah.
But there is a time we were talking to each other, but we were not really communicating for close to a year. As in, let me clarify before I'm misquoted. Zileza, there is an issue that we do not know about. It's eating us, but we do not know. Until we sat down, and actually we had to go to a prayer mountain and sat down, you know, spoke with each other for like 3 days when we were praying and fasting and just trying to reflect what are the things that are eating us that we're not talking about. And there we had to rethink, look at our lives again, and start seeing our marriage in a different perspective. Why? Because marriages, you get to a place where you get comfortable. And you get comfortable, you start doing things for the sake of doing them. You stop doing the things that were pleasing your partner, your wife, your spouse. And you start doing things because you are married. So I think ile ya muko tu, you are happy, but you are not really into each other. So we restarted dating again. Yeah. We had to think of, can we start going out? Can we be taking dinners once in maybe once in 2 weeks? Can we be having our conversations? Can we put our phones down? Yes. So we had such a, you know, those seasons will come. Yeah. They'll always come.
Let me take you guys back. Unajua hii stage tunaitanga getting to know each other better. What is your favorite color? What is your favorite meal? Because today we are talking about the foundations that we need to set for good relationships. Because I believe shida ikwangi ati you set the wrong foundations. Yeah? And I think sasa foundations you set when you're getting to know each other. And I think I came across a video that said, like stop asking about this irrelevant questions. Like ask about the important questions. So in that stage for you guys, what do you think you did different that for sure paid off now in your marriage?
Speak on behalf of the country.
So, this touches close to my heart. Anyway, so it's about an alignment of values. And I have seen that work for us, and I have seen the lack of the same be detrimental to people's relationships and marriages. Ukisikia tunagonga mwaka mzima, and clearly something is wrong, but we're still able to come back together. It's because from the beginning, there are things that were hapa tuko pamoja. This is how we view marriage. And I think people really underestimate that. And I actually tell a lot of young people, before you settle down with anyone, before you rush into moving in and starting to make or not make babies, does the way you view marriage align to the way that person views marriage? Because you will get into that house or you know, into the marriage, and then some very small things, you will start to think, mna clash, but ni vile, me, this is not how I envisioned a marriage should be. Me, I envisioned, let me just give probably an example with one of the things, even as we've conflicted about, but we are able to sort it out because of the foundation. Like gender roles. I put it quote unquote because it could go everywhere, gender roles.
Very like, important.
Me, for example, I envisioned marriage probably as a place where I cook for my husband, I do this. But there are people unapata, maybe me in my dreams about a marriage, and it was just supposed somehow to be automatic. Tukiingia kwa nyumba, while I wash the dishes, he prepares dinner, or the other way. And then we never really, and you know, these are things, we brought chakucheka, isn't it too serious?
Okay, sorry sister.
You know, you never thought these are things that should matter. Because for you, this isn't even too normal. ama si tukiingia huko ndani, we'll just talk about it. There's no talking about it, because these are things that go way into how you are socialized, they go into your belief system, they go into, you know, even you are both Christians, but what does submission mean to you? It probably means something very different to the other person. So don't wait to go into the house to find out, apana, mimi kulingana na mimi, I was supposed to come and sit on the sofa and wait for supper. Yeah. Me, I saw it there. Mta clash mbaya. So that value alignment, and especially with regards to how do you imagine a marriage should look like. Yeah. Paint your picture, I paint my picture, tuone kama zinaingiana.
To the same line.
Yes. If kuna differences kidogo, we can talk about them. We can compromise, we can agree on this or that. Because we're also teaching each other. I learned a lot from this guy about marriage.
Hallelujah.
But kuna zingine zenye zitafika, it becomes if I can't compromise and you can't compromise, and for me it's such a big deal, and for the other person it's such a big deal. Yeah, my friend, it's marriage, COT. See mbinguni, you know. You could wait a little longer, see if the other person will learn something different, or see if actually you have somebody else out there who actually aligns with your values.
True.
Okay, well, that's very profound. And speaking of ukona thoughts, I want you to add on that. When it comes to, you know, people say when you become married, when you're married, you become one. So it's like you do a lot of compromising and sacrificing. But at the same time, how do I compromise and sacrifice without losing myself? How do I maintain who I am as a person? Like my identity, I don't erode my identity to fit your identity as my husband or as my wife.
That's a very good question.
Oh, well, thank you.
So, guy,
we don't speak French here.
You know, every time you ask, it's always a good question. So
my friend, no one has ever told me that's a very good question. So this is the moment. This is the moment. Anyway, I think, like she's saying, that you need to understand where both of you are at when you're coming together. And like she's saying, there's a lot of conversations that young people nowadays, what I see nowadays, are not doing. I see young people just going in for the looks. I see young people going in for sex. I see young people running in because they want to be loved. They want money. And so they do not have real conversations. And marriage is sustained by conversations, real conversations. What are your aspirations? What do you want to do beyond just this marriage? And these are the things that we used to have a lot. I knew she was a teacher when we married. And she actually was employed by the government, by the TSC. But I knew from the word go that, and this is a live example, I knew from the word go she was not meant to be a teacher. And so in my heart, I knew even when we were marrying, you know, people say, marry a teacher, you'll have a great life. Huh? You know, teachers go to school, come home, cook for you, they make dinner, you have a good life. But I knew that my wife has aspirations, great aspirations. And so I started aligning myself, even when we were dating, towards those aspirations. And I knew one day she will tell me, I want to go back to media and do the thing that I think I should be doing. And so it's important to start aligning to the values, like she's saying, the values that both of you, akisema hataki kuwa mwalimu tena na wewe pengine ulikuwa unataka kuwa mwalimu, what are you going to do? Are you going to leave her? No. So you have to have those conversations. And it's very important, like she's saying, have deep conversations. Don't have this, these conversations, twende date, wewe ni mrembo, wewe ni mrembo pia, wewe ni handsome, wewe ni handsome. Kesho tena, the same thing. 1 year down the line, you say, nataka kukuoa. So what happens after that? So I think the most important thing is having conversations. Yes.
All right. Yeah, as we're building on these conversations, what are the things you wouldn't compromise when you're meeting her? And same case to you. What are the things you're looking at and you're like, to fight because I'm not willing to compromise, because I believe this is part of the foundation that I'm putting in this relationship?
Of course, the first thing is your belief system, in what you believe in. And I think most people don't see religion as a big deal. It is such a big deal. That is one thing I knew. I mean, this is what I believe in. This is what I've believed in all my life. It would be very difficult to start another conversation towards something else that I do not believe in. And so that is one of the things. The other thing is, I'm a family man. So there is no way you're going to tell me you're full-time and we have these marriages, full-time career person. So if you are coming into this marriage, we both know that we have a family that we are thinking about, and also you have a career. So what balance are you going to have? So for me, it was, and I have missed so many opportunities, even to fly out of the country to go study, to fly out of the country to go work. Why? Because I knew I gave myself to this good lady and my children, and there is no way I'm going to go for 6 months. So for me, that's a no-no. Some people would gladly take it, but it's in those 6 months that marriages break, because you lose conversations, so you lose communication. So for me, those two things I could not compromise: believe in God and family, because like we said last time when we were here, we are not looking forward to divorce. Yeah. So if you're not looking forward to divorce, what are you going to do to sustain your marriage and to be happy while at it? Yes.
Okay, and
for me, allow me to just go back and say, if you don't want to lose yourself, be true to yourself even when you're dating. Just to simplify what he was saying.
Yeah.
Because if you don't talk about the real you.
To simplify.
In summary,
I'm being Nikirea. You are sabotaging the conversation.
I'm being nice. Nikitoka hapa nitaisema vizuri.
Haya. Ati ulisema mimi ningesema hivi. So in summary,
relax to go on TV.
Sorry.
Yeah. Like, be true to yourself, because if you don't come out as who you are and everything about you, when you go in, you will be shy to make changes, you'll be shy to come out as who you are. Yeah. And then you will find that in order to create a good atmosphere, you keep on suppressing yourself. But that's because you are not true. And that's why we need those deep conversations, even when you're dating. What I wouldn't have compromised on, number one, was faith. I was coming from a very interesting place, a story for another day. A place where, when I met him, I had just gotten born again a few months. But mimi nilikuwa ile Paul Soul Kisanga, eh? Yeah, I think some of my campus friends are still waiting for me to backslide, because how could you, how could you just turn around like that?
What she's not saying is that alikuwa mtu wa dunia. Hallelujah. Mtu wa dunia.
Kwani wewe ulizaliwa mbinguni?
Watu wa Mungu.
Na bado tumeokoka.
Hallelujah. Unajitetea.
So the transformation was big for me, and I was experiencing God in such a way. Like, even with regards to relationships, I had actually just broken up with someone like, Niseme. 2 weeks before I met him. Ilikuwa kuoga na kurudi soko the same day. Na brush ukitupianga kwa njia huko.
Unaambia watu nini?
What I'm trying to say is akitusichome sana.
That guy bado analia mpaka leo.
That's because the other guy had found me in the place where I was transitioning from this life to this kind of life, and I've met Christ, and I now are very clear about so many things, and I have this Christ-like confidence. Hakuna kitu mzuri kama hiyo, and I really knew what I wanted. But because this guy also knew me in my previous life, then certain expectations were not adding up. Yeah. So at that point, I was not going to compromise on whoever I'm meeting next has to be born again, going to heaven. Some of these things are like already, like, okay, nilingia box yake like in 11 days.
Hallelujah.
Like on that day 11,
I was to say it.
There are things we had already said. No sex before marriage. This is how we are doing this. We are dating. There were certain things that had, and they were all faith-based. Yeah, so that is what I wasn't going to compromise on.
All right, I know John Milimo will soon be telling me to wrap up this conversation, but I wanted to ask about...
Wrap up?
I want to talk about relationships and social media, because people think that we expose relationship on social media, so do YouTube channels, so do what, that sometimes it eats into your marriage. Like, people think it's not a good idea. But have you guys experienced like any backlash? Like, mnaenda tu pale na pure intentions to share with people your experiences, alafu mnapata haters.
Funny enough,
as you're adding to that, ama mnafanya kitu mnasema, hiyo ikwenda venye tunataka, so tufanye ingine yenye itachachisha kidogo.
Yes. You see the way we are, that is how we are. And I think the reason why we have sustained what we have sustained is because, like she was saying, we were true to ourselves from the word go. Hakuna msee alikuwa anasema, wewe unakuaga hivi lakini kuna wakati unakuaga hivi. We are true to ourselves. Funny enough, we've never gotten even one hate. Maybe we've got zile za bypassing, but it's not that serious. Zile za sa mtaachana tu zile. We hear that, but it's not as much. We have never. Hatujai kuwa na backlash. Hatujai pata inboxes za matusi. By the way, we all, most of the time actually what we get are questions.
Haters, if you're listening,
yes.
You
so,
need to build them, you know, haters build.
No.
Haters build.
And let me tell you, we have never done at take two. Until we do this video, we do it again? No. We have never done a take two. It's by the way, if you look at our videos, most of the time they are not edited. Ni ile venye ilikuwa tu inaendaga hivyo.
3, 2, 1.
Juu editor yeye na hana.
Mimi ni editor. Actually nakuanga very ni kazi rahisi sana. Mark in, mark out, yende kiendaga. Nenda nikisikiza, if there is something, there is a noise, ningetoa hivyo, noise cancellation like that. But we do not edit. Why? We speak what we know. We do not have anything to hide. We say it as we see it. And of course, there are people who tell us, don't put your lives out there. But for us, it's a calling. Unlike people who do it for money, probably. And it's okay, because it's business nowadays.
Yeah. And money
For
will
us,
follow.
yes, and money will follow.
Tumekataa pesa.
Hallelujah.
Hatujakataa
pesa. Wacha ikuje.
Just so we are clear.
Yes.
We are not saying we don't.
But for us, it has never been about money. For us, it's a calling for us. For that. We feel the reason why we are here on earth is for that. And so we cannot keep that with ourselves.
In summary.
Kwa maneno machache, like he said, for us it's a calling that we identified even before we were married. And when you speak of purpose for a marriage, because for Christians when you're marrying also, you need to understand what does God want with that marriage. You cannot be selfish as a Christian to decide a marriage is for you. Ndio wewe ufurahi usemange what does God want in that marriage? And for us, that's one of the things we identified very early. And so for us, a lot of battles, haters, I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but you're doing nothing. Because a lot of battles that have come against our ministry have actually been very internal. Like we can tell when shetani anakoroga ndoa yetu huko ndani, so that we are not able to come out and minister. But really this hating on social media, it's okay if you want to, you know, hiyo ni mzigo yako, uko na mashida zako wewe. Yeah, by the way. But for us, and there are things about our marriage, by the way, that people do not know. So we also really pray for wisdom from God. There are things, for example, if we're dealing with, then God allows us to, you know, like deal with this first, grow out, you know, grow with this, mature in this particular subject, and then he, at some point now, he allows us to come out. So God-led is always the best.
Beautiful. While we're with you here, we'll come to you, Muchiri. There's probably a young lady who is thinking about marriage, but she's 50-50 about it, and she really wants to fight that spirit of the doubt. She anataka kupendwa, lakini hajui kama anataka kupendwa. You get it? So I want you to encourage that lady. And Muchiri, there's a man who's trying to think, is it a wise decision to get married? Ama niende tu kakienda nitafute tu mtu anipatie mtoto. So I want you to encourage that person, but we'll start with you.
As we wind up,
Yes.
As we wind up.
As we wind up.
Hallelujah.
Okay, let us start with the lady. Dear lady, first find your footing in Christ. Get that Christ confidence. Yenye unajua, you are not prone to mistakes per se. When you are God-led, when you are Spirit-led, then you are very confident in the things that you're going into. Then secondly, heal from your past. Heal from as much baggage as you can heal from before you go into a marriage. Because sometimes you are thinking marriage is a scam. Men are, I think we stopped saying dogs. Sijui tunawaita nini siku hizi.
Kwa gospel show.
Thank you very much.
Dogs are God's creation.
Yeah.
Men are doing what? Nini sijui ni nini.
We.
But
Kanyeve.
Ama ni uongo. But in real sense, you have things you've gone through in life, or there are things you saw in your surroundings, especially very many of us in African society, we grew up around marriages that weren't working. And that affects how we see marriage. Do not risk going into marriage with that perspective. Just heal and then also decide that I'm going into marriage, a marriage that is working. The doubts you go into, that which you are fearing will happen, will follow you. So you just leave the fears behind. And the way to leave the fears behind is to heal. And then now make sure you get the right person. Don't go in because biological clock is ticking. God did not create our time. Anajua kitu anafanya.
Amen.
Wacha nisiendeleze hiyo sermon.
Mtu take time. Unakimbia kuoa na kuolewa ya nini? Take time. Hata ufikishe 30 hata 35. Take your time. By the way, marriage is difficult. That is one thing that people don't say. Marriage is very, very. It's not for cowards, by the way. So if you are coward, you do. Kesho utaanza kupotea. Marriage is very difficult. Utapotea. Take your time. And like my wife is saying, heal. Tuko kwanza hapa Afrika shida za kuzaliwa nazo na kulelewa ni mingi kuliko watu. So take your time. Know yourself. Don't go in, and especially for men, because you're going to be the leader of that family. You cannot go in if you cannot be able to lead. Take your time, learn the art, know what you want, and go for it.
Ushasema.
Hallelujah.
Sana, una la ziada. Kama pia unaita kangele. Excuse me, sir, we don't speak French here.
Oh, sorry.
Wewe shida hapo.
You only have French names.
Naongea Kiswahili nalipwa.
Niko na pick up nyingine hapo inataka kangele.
Yaani mtu amushana. I see.
Yeah, I want you to dance to a song.
Dance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lazima tukatike.
Si tutangusha mic.
Ni sawa, mtatolewa.
Mimi ni mzito. Kilo 103. I'm a heavy person.
Ni sawa. Kanyaga chini mwili itasonga yenyewe.
But before that, want to run a trivia.
Trivia?
Yes.
Again?
Ya Bible.
Yes.
Yo, mliaibisha bwana.
Mliaibisha.
Ona mwita bibi yake, mwaibisha familia ikiwa yote.
Sawa, unajua venye pia unasema you cut post even when nilifanya.
Hapana.
Bombastic.
No.
Tuliuliza Frederick Mwitiriri approximately how many animals he thinks Moses put in there. Akasema 200. Kwanza alifanya calculations called.
No, in my defense I was tired.
Alikuwa like if x equals to y plus a and b must have been 200. Hata kusikia ni moja.
Bombastic side eye.
Let me give you the easiest. Let us dance.
Yes.
Tukatike.
It's okay. It's
Yes,
okay.
iko sawa.
No, hata trivia iko sawa.
Hata trivia iko sawa.
Tukianguka
tuanguke in town.
Kaende.
Haya. Tupea trivia.
Wametupatia consent.
Yeah.
Twende. Sana
Tukianguka mtasamea in town.
The first question, after Jesus was crucified, who took his body down from the cross?
Nimesahau. Wewe nikumbuka. Umesema si ukumbuke.
Joseph walimadhea.
Hapo sawa.
Alienda Sunday school mapema. Zote ni ataansa. Helper.
Wacha tutafute hii.
Let's go to the other one as you look for one. What was the name of the woman who washed Jesus' feet?
See Mary Magdalene.
She was Mary.
No, Mary, sister to mother.
Uongo, Sister Martha ni wale wa kina Lazarus.
Sasa huyo mwenye anasema huyo.
Anaitwa nani?
Mary, anaitwa Mary.
Ni Maria. Hello.
Zina the other name?
Magdalene.
Magdalene. Hapo sawa.
Si nilikuwa nimejua mwanzo wewe
Wakina
It is you.
Inajua wezi anguka. Where did Jesus turn water into wine?
Si mahali walikuwa wameenda harusi.
Walikuwa wanafanya.
Zilikuwa mahali kwingi.
Wedding reception.
Reception.
Yes.
Kana of Galilee.
Hapo sawa.
Si mama bibi yangu anaenda kanisa mapema. Anaimba praise and worship.
What was the profession of Simon Peter before following Jesus?
Simon Peter, si alikuwa mvuvi?
Hakuwa carpenter?
Fisherman.
Bana fisherman.
Wewe wacha wewe. Wewe.
They identify weak areas.
Aya, wacha tuende na what is the name of the garden where Jesus went to pray after the last supper?
Gethsemane, Yesu alienda.
Gethsemane.
Yoni.
Gethsemane hakuwa.
Wewe.
Goligodha
ni kukusubishwa. Bibi yangu.
Mwisho alafu to dance.
Yeah, name the first two apostles who followed Jesus.
Simon Peter. Huyo mwingine ni brother yake John. Ama alikuwa anaitwa Kang'ethe. Mimi naona
Kama
kama John. Naona kama ni John T.
Hapana.
Si John T. Mark. Madhi.
Stop gazing.
John nawe.
At least mimi ndo moja. Andrew.
Oh, Andrew. Was he the brother?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, was the brother.
Andrew was the brother to
I
Peter?
think so.
Yes.
They were together. They were fishing actually.
Yes.
He called them.
Mhubiri.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Tukitayarisha kudance sasa
Tuna
mtuambie.
dance bado. I thought it was either.
Vibaya sana. Mtatuambia watu wanapata wapi kwenye mitandao ya kijamii.
Riri Family.
Si ngoja hata nimalize swali.
YouTube.
Mitandao ya kijamii mnapatwa wapi?
Sawa. Tunashuka ama tunadansia tukiwa hapa. You know,
tunashuka lakini
tunashuka.
Lakini siko chini hapa tu.
Oh.
Hapa kwa hii ground.
Sasa watu wazito kama sisi, what do we do with our bodies?
Sawa, tunapatikana pale YouTube Riri Family. But we also do a lot on TikTok. Kuna wenye tuko live.
Tuko live hata TikTok. Hello.
Lakini mnifollow pia na kuangana.
Akona jaribu kufollow.
Niko na content ya maana. Sijui kwa nini mnafuata umse na vile akona. Ana moigea akona upuzi sana. Na follow me also please. If you want to balance out the career the wana with at least something sensible.
Unasema mzee wako nakuaga na wana, but wana ni mzuri.
Yeah, so Riri Family everywhere, but also Frederick Muitiriri. Muitiriri Fred on TikTok. Yes, and at Ann Muitiriri on TikTok also.
Yes. And at Susan Grace _KE. Tuko tayari?
Tuko tayari. Unataka tusimame?
Tusimame
Oh God of all.
It's about to go down.
Yes, there's a song